The images you are about to see are of barren churches and vacant houses of worship that just 20 years ago were full of people. Now the community they used to serve have all aged out or died, and the culture is no longer centered around them. Now more than ever, houses of worship must find a way to create community, a different way, a better way. They need to start turning strangers into neighbors. The folks at Henshaw UMC here are doing just that, turning strangers into neighbors by hosting Faith Action's annual Trunk or Treat and ID drive. During this night, Faith Action, along with their partners and the good folks at Henshaw UMC, passed out candy to over 70 kids and issued over 50 IDs to families so they could do basic things like sign their children up for school, get medicine from the pharmacy, or see a doctor. Over the last 10 years, Faith Action has issued over 20,000 community IDs, empowering immigrants to do the things they have to do for their families, as well as give them confidence when calling the police or reporting crime. The ID program came out of a need that Greensboro Police Department noticed a long time ago, and that is, they were noticing that immigrant communities were not reporting crime. What they came to understand is that immigrants were not reporting crimes because they were afraid of the police. Greensboro Police Department then partnered with Faith Action to create the Strangers Neighbor Initiative, what we now call the Faith Action ID program.
We ask that you please pay close attention to this orientation as it contains important information about the Faith Action ID program.
Hola amigos, nos complace que estén aquí hoy para la jornada de identificaciones de FaithAction.
Another way houses of worship are turning strangers into neighbors is by participating in our Strangers to Neighbor program. Now there are two ways to encounter strangers to neighbor. Churches can partner with an ecumenical immigrant church, or churches can add an interfaith aspect and partner with a house of worship from a different religion. I'll spend the rest of this video explaining the program and both methods of participation. In this scene, folks from First Lutheran are meeting with folks from the Triad Hindu Temple. Here they're exchanging stories and sharing a bit of culture during one of the many festivals Triad Hindu Temple puts on each year. There are three critical pillars of stranger to neighbor. One is education, the second one is exchange, and the third is action. During the first pillar, the two different houses of faith can meet together and educate each other about each one's religion. This is a safe place to explore and ask questions you always had about the other faith. The first step to becoming neighbors is to getting to know each other. During this education process, each pairing will gather together for Immigration 101 training, where common questions about immigrants are asked and answered without fear. You will see pictures later on of Robbins Wesleyan Church taking the Immigration 101 training alongside their sister church, San Juan Diego of Robbins.
Services attached to it as well. Some people gravitate toward one or the other.
Vandy Chum and Keith Harrington described their experience going through Stranger to Neighbor a couple years ago.
My name is Vandy Chum. I'm with the Greensboro Buddhist Center, and I'm also with the Cambodian Culture Center of North Carolina.
So, can you describe, first of all, what was the organization you were paired with, and can you describe your overall experience?
And what was it? Partner with?
Yeah, who have you been partnering with, and can you tell us about your overall experience?
Okay, we have been partnered with Guilford Park Presbyterian Church, and our experience has been phenomenal. We have embraced each other as a community, learned from each other. We've done a book, reading together. Also participate in different events together. For example, we invite, Guilford Park to come over and learn about our religion, and also we went over there to learn about their religion.
Can you give me one thing that you were able to grasp that you enjoyed about the religious experience, the exchange, you sharing something with them and them sharing something with you? Was there a moment that kind of spoke to you or grabbed you?
Yes. When we were took the opportunity to come together and we had a round table, almost like a round table discussion to learn from each other. We share about what our beliefs are, and why Buddhism and why church, Christianity. I'm sorry, and then part of what we discuss, and what I can say is that the thing that we have so much in common is our compassion for each other, and how we like to support each other as human, and as a community, how we embrace that. And also we went into even further about, what is life after death look like to you in your religion and ours, So we shared a little bit about that, and I thought that was great that we learned, from each other that way.
All right. Would you what has your parent decided to do with the stipend, and how are you spending that?
With the stipend, of course, we did the purchase of the book reading, the material, and also for further use is to fund event like this, what we call a community fun day, where our two organization partner religion come together and enjoy food, fellowship, and games, as a community.
Would you recommend this to other groups, this experience?
Yes, and actually we did post it in our group, and we open it to all community, other than just our two group here. But yeah, we open it to the community wide. Yes, to come and experience this.
Thank you so much, Mandy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're part of the Pieces and Justice. Okay. How's your experience been with S2N program, and who did you partner with?
Well, the experience has been very interesting, educational. We partnered with Wat Greensboro Buddhist Temple and Cambodian Cultural Center, and we first got together during the time of COVID and just coming out of that time. So we had some setbacks as far as trying to meet in person,
Right.
but we did manage to have some events together, and we learned a good bit from each other when we were able to meet.
What was the most memorable experience or part of this experience? What was your favorite part of this experience, I should say?
I would say probably the Q&A session we did. We did a Q&A session back in 2021, and that's when we were able to have both groups ask all kinds of questions that they had about Buddhism and about Christianity and the differences and the things we have in common. And so that was really educational and interesting. So that's probably my favorite. But I've liked all of the events we've done so far.
Would you suggest this program to somebody else?
Yes, I would. I think it's a good opportunity to grow. Whatever your faith is, it's a good opportunity to strengthen it and strengthen your bonds and connections to other people.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, friend. As important as the education portion of the program is, the exchange portion is the most interactive and always involves some sort of festival or community event where both houses of worship come together and exchange parts of their culture. This could be in the shape of a shared meal with dishes from everyone's home country, or can involve a festival with authentic folk dancing from different cultures. While this aspect is also educational and even edifying to everyone's culture of origin, it is also the most fun. For the longest time, humans have been getting together to celebrate culture and food as an essential part of building relationships. It's also a very key element when turning strangers into neighbors. The dances are from two different festivals that Shrine Hindu Temple and Greensboro First Lutheran hosted as part of their pairing. What you are now seeing are folks from all different cultures coming together for our annual multicultural Thanksgiving that Faith Action puts on each year. This year, Muir's Chapel UMC was kind enough to host it. Food from countries all over the world is enjoyed with multicultural folk dancing. Food and dancing have historically been ways folks have turned strangers into neighbors. These next few clips are from the Hunger Fest that one of our parents participated in. During this event, folks from all over, including folks from the Triad Hindu Temple, came together to exchange folk dances as part of a greater cultural exchange. The footage you are now looking at are photos and clips from two events: Faith Action's Unity Walk and a protest march we participated in D.C. last November. At both marches, we were protesting for immigrant rights and a pathway forward for DACA recipients to become citizens. Finally, we come to the action portion of Stranger to Neighbor, where we empower houses of faith to come together to do something positive for their community. We give each pairing $2,500 to do a joint project for the community. The sky's the limit as to what pairings can do with the money, as long as it is spent on a joint project for the community and doesn't go to pay for facilities or staff. Pairings have led such projects as feeding hungry folks experiencing homelessness, supporting a blood bank drive, or hosting a community event or a health clinic. Again, the sky is the limit. Your imagination is the only thing stopping you. While historically, Stranger to Neighbor has been an interfaith program, we are now pairing churches who want to start a bilingual service or program with immigrant churches that can help congregations accomplish these goals. The goal is to pair established Anglo churches with immigrant churches so they can share resources, talent, and grow together as sister congregations. This method of Stranger to Neighbor has all the same pillars: education, exchange, and action. However, it would be with a church with a large immigrant population instead of a temple or another religion. Greensboro is full of immigrant churches from all over the world, and the Holy Spirit is working in the lives of these folk. Now is the time to start worshiping with immigrant churches, to empower them to empower others in their community, to start turning strangers into neighbors. Right now, 1 in 10 residents in Greensboro are immigrants. This number is projected to double, then triple over the next 30 years. Now is the time for churches to learn how to reach out to immigrant Christians. Now is the time to start living out the gospel. Now is the time to turn strangers into neighbors.
Digas sus corazoncitos, Señor, y que hoy puedan aprender mucho, mucho, mucho de tu palabra.
And we're back to more empty churches. While the sight of an empty church parking lot is heartbreaking, it is completely avoidable. The Holy Spirit is really moving in the immigrant community, and immigrant-based Christian churches are popping up all over Greensboro. Now is the time to start trying to reach folk that look and act differently than we do. Now is the time for Christian churches and congregations in Greensboro to embrace our newest neighbors.
Царство небесное de la sierra.
El reino del cielo está dentro de mí.
Le royaume des cieux est en moi.
Umbuso wezulu ngowami.
The kingdom of heaven is for everyone.